there, Aquarius. Welcome to a manifestation reading for the period of February through April 21st. This is when all the planets are direct, and anything that you want to launch or begin has a green light kind of an effect to it. So you may find that things are easier to manifest at this time. So we're going to look at what could possibly be things that you would like to manifest into your life. And this can, obviously this can be something material, but it might be a relationship. It might be a state of mind if you want to become more more. I'm trying to think of what an Aquarius person would like to become more of. I was going to say more tolerant, but you're already tolerant. But maybe more, you want to get closer to people. I don't know. I said I don't know, and then I got a card that's kind of indifference. Okay. Well, this looks like that might even be like relationship related. So we'll see. The card that I picked that representing your manifestation is the Nine of Pentacles. Now, Pentacles relate to the material energy, but it's not necessarily going to be like that because, for instance, it could also be a person, could be an earth sign or somebody that maybe they're like an air sign like you, but they have a lot of earth otherwise. I'm a fire sign, I have lots of earth. But the earth would have to kind of be dominant if they're not a sun sign in earth. The sun signs that are earth are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So maybe there's one of those signs that you are interested in and you would like to form a relationship with them. This is a card that is all about financial independence. And sometimes a person finds themselves in a situation where they feel trapped. And the reason they feel trapped is because they would like to leave a situation, but they can't because they don't have the money. So whether it is a marriage or a live-in situation, or if it is a situation involving a job that you're not necessarily that gung-ho about, but by the same token, you can't really just up and leave because maybe you don't have savings or enough savings where you feel comfortable just leaving. Maybe you'd like to start a business, but you feel like you don't have the money to do so. Remember that, especially in that last scenario, you can start something fairly soon, very kind of humble service or product if you're crafty kind of person or whatever, without having to, with the internet, you don't really have to do that, and you can keep your day job. And sometimes if somebody's dissatisfied with their job, just the very fact that they are doing something on the side that is more in alignment with what their talents are, what their interests are, that automatically gives a sense of relief because they're already it's not just dipping their toe in. Well, you could say it is kind of like they're dipping their toe in. They don't have to commit fully and then be like, oh my God, I don't, when am I going to see a profit or when am I going to make enough money? And it doesn't put so much pressure on this other side project. And so holding that vision for being able to do that is very important. Why you are in this position is represented by the Nine of Wands, and you can see the expression on this person's face. They're kind of like, okay, waiting for the other shoe to drop, very wary. It's like the person, the guard at the gates. So it does represent issues surrounding boundaries and also um, waiting, that you have to anticipate that someone is going to strike again. So, for instance, some of you may actually have left a relationship and are rebuilding your life, and yet you're kind of watching your back because someone, that person, your ex, is maybe they're starting to ask about you, or that the classic narcissist move where they have the uncanny timing of contacting you when you've gotten over them, when you're starting to really feel that sense of independence, which the Nine of Pentacles is all about. Um, and it's a process. So I'm not saying that this is the destination, and maybe you're in that in between stage where you haven't quite gotten there, but you're on the right track for being able to do so. And that wariness of the Nine of Wands is a person who maybe has been to this rodeo before, and you've already dealt with such a person. Also, like in the workplace, if you have felt that you have not been respected, if you have been kind of taken advantage of by a boss or whatever, and you feel like you need to put up those boundaries, that may be the first step in feeling like I need to have this financial independence. Because until I do, I'm going to be at the mercy of other people. Now, obviously, that's kind of like, you could say that's a negative belief, but it's also very true that we can't control other people. And so if someone is going to be that kind of person who just you have the right to have a job description that fits certain parameters, and nobody has the right to kind of make you do work that isn't in your job description. And sometimes maybe you wanted to help somebody out and then they just kept expecting it. So you may realize that you have had to set boundaries, but you can't control their behavior, is the bottom line. The first step to getting to where you want to be, Aquarius, is the King of Swords. And it's funny because swords relate to air signs, including your sign, but this is like I always associate this with Aquarius because I consider Aquarius the most detached out of all the air signs. Whether that is, you would agree with me or not, that's just how I feel about it. Of course, Gemini might give you a run for your money. All air signs are mainly mental and they're not necessarily emotional, but that is not the only thing you can go by, because you might have other influences that make you more emotional. And the bottom line is that something may be triggering you emotionally in whatever that situation is. Whether it's like you're trying to move on with your life or you want to leave a relationship and this other person is, I was going to say obsessed, but it doesn't have to be that serious. It can just be that person is very controlling and they don't want to lose. They don't want to lose face. They want to. They don't want to lose control of the situation. So, King of Swords means that you might have to just be totally rational. not allow any kind of manipulation or any kind of sentimental tendencies that you have to soften you. When I say soften you, I don't mean that you're hard because you have a hard heart, but that could be something that keeps you in this position of being at somebody else's mercy. So you have to decide that you are going to do your own thing. And that person they have their own path and they have to live their own life. And they may act like they need you. Sometimes these types of people pull out all the stops, but you have to not allow guilt, somebody to guilt you or anything like that. And I think that's what I'm talking about. This could even be like with a boss, where they're like, we need you, we have to have you. And especially for those Aquarius people who have inner planets in Pisces, you might have Mars in Pisces, for instance, you may be feeling that tug to your heartstrings. They're like, oh yeah, but if you've already been doing this and you feel like you are being taken advantage of, and that maybe like you're working more, but you're getting the same pay, at least they could pay you a little bit more, but something doesn't feel right, then you have to do what you need to do. And trust that they will find their way too. What is coming in is the Six of Cups. This is a card that is associated with childhood, with innocence, the past. For some of you, you may feel that you want to even go back home. There was a book, there was a novel called You Can't Go Home Again. But sometimes, I'm sure that was not literal. There may be an actual reason for all of this. Perhaps the night, I feel like some of you have already started to manifest the Nine of Pentacles. And you may feel like you need to touch base with your roots for that sense of stability. So that might be the reason why you are doing this. Remember that you have Uranus in your fourth house of home and family, Aquarius. That's your ruler. You have that in transiting your fourth house. So because of this, there may be some twists and turns with your family of origin and, family matters in general. But it can also mean that it can be a time when you don't want to be settled in one place. And you may even work from home, like technology is associated with Uranus. So you may work online from home instead of working in an office. And this would suit somebody like you because you do love that freedom. But also in March, you're going to have Saturn leave your sign, and then you're going to have Pluto take over into your sign. So March is going to be a big month for Aquarius because you're going to see massive changes. And to prepare for this, you may want to go back to the beginning to kind of recalibrate and get a sense of, where you came from before you move forward into this new frontier that you could call it. And the other thing about this card is that there may have been something that you have always had a passion for ever since childhood that you put on the back burner because you were trying to be an adult. You were adulting. And now you feel this pull back to that thing. So maybe you have been an artist and then you kind of put it away and saw it as childish things. And now you want to reclaim that dream. This is a soulmate card, so this could also relate to relationship issues. And I got as the outcome card, which is why I picked an additional card, the Two of Swords, which indicates somebody who has a decision to make, and yet the person is blindfolded, and the moon is behind the person. The moon can indicate deception or confusion, wishful thinking, and the blindfold could be lying to oneself, believing other people's lies. So this card could be that you're at a crossroads in your life, between, deciding between two things. And maybe that's what the Nine of Pentacles is really about, is stepping into that independence. Maybe this is Independence Day for you. And when I say day, I'm talking about this period of time. And you really want to step into that. But it's like a process sometimes, because especially since you're a fixed sign, Aquarius, you may feel like change isn't necessarily that easy for you to just go into. And that's perfectly fine. And I think that it makes sense to definitely be very like, I wouldn't say cautious, but, take your time to review your options. And I always think that the Two of Swords can mean that the person believes that they have a choice to make, but really it's not much of a choice. You know what I mean? I mean, for instance, if there are two people that you are deciding between, or if you're deciding whether or not to leave your marriage, I mean, it could already be over with, and you're just kind of like pretending, I mean, not consciously pretending, but acting like there really is a decision there instead of just getting on with it. I picked an additional card, and I got the Knight of Cups. This is a card of an offer. Could be an offer of love. And what this can mean is that if you, for instance, if you've been dissatisfied with a relationship, you may find that by making space in your life for new love to come in, ushers it in. And maybe it is as soon as this time frame that you meet that special person. But the thing is, it's like with the Nine of Wands, that when you're in that defensive, or what I would call that wariness, where you're kind of watching your back, that's a constrictive energy. And that actually walls you in. So by, putting yourself in a place where you have a lot of spaciousness inside of your heart, that can allow for love to come in. This could also be an offer, like a job offer, but something that is close to your heart. So that's what I have for you, Aquarius. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.